Did you know there was a meeting recently between all the world leaders and the Pope attended at one major event? Do you want to find out why this was important?
Let's find out.
Welcome, brothers and sisters. This is a segment that Mackenzie and I wanted to bring to you. It's a little more casual. It's not an official podcast. We're actually calling this a TM Bite. And the reason we're doing this is because there are things happening in real time that we want to keep you guys up to date on. We want to keep you informed on what's happening, and we want to try to connect dots as they're happening. The podcast is set up a little more in a way to help you and others kind of walk through more of a historical perspective in some cases, or in other cases, we have experts like Barbara O'Neill coming up soon. So
a lot more detailed, a lot more specific things that we're talking about, kind of dissecting a lot more.
Right. Yeah. And this TM Bite is supposed to just be us talking to you guys and giving you some up-to-date information and providing as much perspective as we can. So with that, Mackenzie, we're going to be talking about some stuff that's happened recently in relation to the climate movement, as well as global taxation and unity happening amongst the nations since Joe Biden, our second Catholic president in history, has come in to the presidency. So the first thing we're going to look at today that affects all of us and will come to affect all of us in the future is this climate summit that was held recently, all digitally, but it was on April 22nd, and there were 40 international leaders there, all organized by President Joe Biden, and it had a special message given by Pope Francis. And we have some articles that we'll give you guys links to, but we're going to kind of walk you through why this was important and why this is kind of a historical step in the unity movement.
Yeah, this was a very interesting event because it brought a lot of different things that we've been talking about and that Amazing Discovery has been talking about for a long time, kind of all together in one place.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's happening under the U.S. president that is a Roman Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
So you had Donald Trump, which was globally seen as extremely divisive. Whether you liked him or not, he was divisive. And that happened around the world. Now you see Joe Biden step in, and things are starting to change. So I'm going to read a couple of quotes to kind of give you the framework of what this climate summit was about, and what the Pope's feelings was on it, as well as who was in attendance. Okay, so this first one's from Catholic News Agency, and it's titled "Care for Nature." This is the Pope being quoted here, where he says, "I greet you who are gathered in this initiative." So this is a programmed initiative that they're looking to act on with this climate change, and it says right after that, which seems to me a happy one. So you can tell he's endorsing what they're doing at this climate summit. He's happy that it's happening. So in this, he's asking world leaders, he's actually urging them to, as he says, quote, act with courage, operate with justice, and always tell the truth to people with regard to the environment. It's an interesting concept, tell the truth with regard to everything, not just the environment. But then let's see who was at this meeting. Because just, again, to set the framework, we've got Biden gets all the civil leaders of the world who we're about to go through. They all come together, and the first guy to give them a message, a nice welcome message saying, all right, guys, good job all coming here, is Pope Francis.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's see who he greeted when his Catholic president got this group of people together. The speakers, so these are people who not just attended, they spoke. The speakers included UN Secretary Antonio Guterres, Roman Catholic. French President Emmanuel Macron, Roman Catholic. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi, not just a Roman Catholic, but a well-known friend of the Jesuits. German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Russian President Vladimir Putin. Turkish President Erdogan. Prime Minister of England, Boris Johnson, and Chinese President Xi Jinping. So, in conjunction with Pope Francis and Joe Biden, who put on the event, what do you think about this list of speakers here? Not attendees, speakers.
Well, it's interesting because a large portion of them are Roman Catholic. And, you know, we have all these countries that are apparently not friends coming together.
I see Russia, China, and America all at the same table here.
All sitting there talking about apparently climate change is what the big agenda is.
This is what got them together, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like they're taking this step towards an event. So they're coming here, meeting together, talking about climate change and its impact on the future. They found this a noble enough cause to come and speak at the same event together, despite very public differences. But they are working toward a specific event, and that is the COP26 UN climate meeting taking place in Glasgow in November.
Yeah.
Now, this is important to keep in mind because Glasgow represents to this group of people a finish line of sorts, not necessarily a starting point. Now, it could be a starting point to something bigger, but we'll kind of quote what they said about this Glasgow event. And this comes from AP News. This is John Kerry speaking, who has been essentially the climate envoy specialist going around the world representing the U.S. interests in this climate negotiation. And he says Glasgow is the world's last best hope. He said, if it were 100 miles to Glasgow, metaphorically, we would have done, as he's saying in completing this first summit, the first 12 miles on the lowlands. And we have 88 hard miles to go with a lot of difficult terrain. Seeing this as a very specific journey